Welcome! I'm Johan Nilsson.
And I'm Lincoln Murphy, and this is Impact Weekly. We're here to help you make your customers successful. Each week, we answer your most pressing customer success management questions by relying on our years of experience with companies around the world.
Let's get this going. Welcome back to Impact Weekly. So we are here for another week of digging into the most pressing customer success questions you have. Before we jump into today's topic, just a quick reminder, send us your questions. I even challenge you to send us your the most challenging, difficult customer success question you have from you or the team. Please get it over to us. We want to hear from you, so do that. Today, we're talking about customer success and support. So we have a question. It's when is it a good idea to split up support and customer success? I think we received this question in slightly various wording, but more or less the same actual question here is what is support, what is customer success? So that's what we're going to dig into today.
All right.
And Lincoln, maybe we just take it one step back here and what is actually the difference between customer success and support? I mean, support, I think most people know what support is. They have been receiving support for a consumer product. They've been receiving support when they contacted their insurance company, whatever. So support, I think, has been around for a very long time, of course, and it's quite well established in some ways. And most of us know it's quite transactional. But that differs, right?
Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, I think support sort of encompasses a lot of different things, but I think it ultimately comes down to, if there's something wrong with the product, it's not working the way you think it should. It has some sort of issue like that's, we know that's when you go to support or you go to customer service. If you're having a problem with your transaction or whatever, right? So we all have that experience, but I think when it comes to differentiating customer success and customer support in your organization, you have to get really clear on what the differences are. So like, when should a customer go to support? And then when should they come to you in customer success? And I think that also means we have to define sort of what customer success is, right? So we've all worked with support. Maybe we've actually even done some support ourselves.
Yeah.
But customer success, I think one of the biggest differences between support and customer success, other than what they actually do, and we'll talk about that in just a second, is that support is transactional. And that's a term that gets thrown around a lot, but I think we need to really think about it like this. When you have a support issue, you go to the support team, you open a ticket or whatever. That ticket, that which is basically saying, "Hey, here's my issue," right?
Yeah.
That becomes sort of like a little project, and the support person or team will work that little project until it's done, until your problem is solved, and then that's it. We move on.
Yeah.
That's the transaction, and any context that's sort of maintained around that transaction is not something that that the support people really care about, and not because they don't care. And I think there's even a lot of us versus them when it comes to customer success and customer support. It's just the way that function of the company operates. It's like an issue comes in, I work the issue, I move on to the next issue with the next customer. And you contrast that with customer success, which is I have this ongoing relationship across the entire life cycle with the customer that is, so it's not transactional. It's something that the interactions that I have with the customer over that life cycle is there's a context that's maintained between those interactions. And that context is really the most important part of the relationship when it comes to customer success. So understanding the differences there, I think, are important. So when you hear somebody say support is transactional, it's
Yes.
not a negative thing.
No.
It's not. It is what it is, and customer success is not. Now the other distinction that I think was sort of this is like a history lesson, kids. Um, the main distinction that people used to make between customer success and customer support was like one is proactive and one is reactive,
Yeah.
right? So support is reactive and customer success is proactive.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, living in reality, that's just not
No.
how it works. I mean, support is almost always going to be some sort of reactive to the customer having an issue, although there are times where maybe the SaaS provider or cloud providers, actually are able to see that there was an issue
Yeah.
and reach out to the customer. So even in that situation, reaching out with a support, issue that they've noticed could still be proactive.
Yeah.
It's although even well, we'll talk about that in just a second. But customer success being proactive, it's just also not true because we're very often reacting to what our customers are doing. So that distinction,
Exactly.
that doesn't hold. It just
No.
just doesn't hold. So the real distinction here is um, the transactional versus relationship nature
Yeah.
of the different functions, and then even more important, like what they do.
Yeah.
So what does support do? What does customer success do? Make that distinction very clear in your business.
Yeah. And I think also like evolution of your business is also going through stages where you in the beginning, when you have your first few customers, you do both customer success and support and everything with the customers, because you get tickets from them and you also help them do more things and want to help them achieve their goals and so on. But as your customer base grows, maybe your incoming tickets with issues, problems from your customers is growing rapidly, and that's where you end up having support, probably building up support, or ending up doing more support and adding more people to that team. And then you come into the next phase where you basically realize that it's not going to help. We're not going to get our customers to where they want to go without doing actual work in customer success. And then you start adding people to customer success. So it's also the phases of how a company grows that plays into this as well. And to the question again, when do you split it up? So
Right.
I think it's also interesting to look at that in this perspective.
For sure. And I think the way you laid it out there is in terms of the evolution of a company, I think is perfect. I think that's something that people just don't take into consideration. Look, if you're a newer company and you have a product that is not, fully built out, or maybe it's built out, but not everything's been, really tested. There's some issues, usability issues, or maybe some just actual still bugs or
Yeah,
whatever. The more customers you get using your product, the more those customers are going to run into those things, and so support may need to ramp pretty fast at at that point in your evolution as you start adding more customers, but the product is not itself fully functional, or still has some issues. So
yeah,
I think just that evolution, I think, is really interesting, and it's sort of this give and take. Sometimes we're going to need to build more support. Sometimes we're going to have to build up the customer success team. All of that, capacity planning work is something that's ongoing that needs to be
yeah,
done. But I think um, if we go back to, like you said, what's the question? When should we actually split support and success? Because to your point, there's going to be, especially early on, we're going to be doing both of those things. Well,
yeah,
here's the thing: you should, quote unquote, split customer success and support either from the very beginning or starting today, whichever is soonest. Um,
exactly.
because we want to make sure that our customers are very clear on where they should go for whatever whatever they need. So if they have a support issue, we will need them to go to support.
Exactly.
If we're going to be working with them, to help them achieve their goals, they should go to customer success.
Yeah,
So in the very early days, I always suggest create a generic inbox or get a ticketing system that does that, where you can deflect to if they have a support issue, they can send an email to support at, or they can go open a ticket. Even if you're the one, let's say you're the only customer success manager, you're also head of customer success, you're also the chief support engineer, you're going to be working that ticket behind the scenes. But by differentiating these things in the customer's mind, when it comes time to start scaling, to start adding people, now your customers already know where to go for support. They already know why they should come to you, what they should come to you for in customer success. You've already positioned those things properly in their mind. So now operationally you can start building those things out. So you want to split that early, even if you're the one doing all the work behind the scenes.
Yeah. And this is something we also see even when you grow your teams, and even if you have a support function and you have a support team and you have a customer success team, this separating these two things are really key as well when you have a huge team, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously, the more people involved, the bigger the teams, the more complex the teams, the more complex the customer use cases. All of these things figure into how who's going to be doing what and how things are going to be positioned. And honestly, as you get into more complex use cases, you see some interesting things, like a customer success team will also work with technical account managers. Those TAMs are going to be doing things that seem, that are much more product centric, much more lower level, development, maybe some integrations. So, even though you're in customer success and you're really working to help the customer achieve their goals, remember, we're still working with a technology product generally that the customer has to use. And so even though in customer success we're there to help them achieve their business outcomes, it's still through the use of our product, and of course, through their overall relationship with us. But the product is a pretty important aspect of this, which means ultimately how these things are split, exactly what that looks like is going to be very unique to your situation. Now, once you have split those, the way that you run your customer success operation, the way you run your success, your support organization, those are pretty well established, especially support. The metrics, the measurements, the operations around support, that's a pretty well established industry, if you want to call it that. And so, once you've done that, once you've sort of decided what support is going to do, what CS is going to do, then kind of figuring out how operationalize and measure and manage it, that becomes a little not easy. Nothing's easy, but it becomes easier. But it's really kind of figuring out what goes where and when your customer should do that. And so, if you have, even if it's not a really complex setup, but you have an established support team and you have an established customer success organization, you need to make sure that you're maintaining the positioning of those in your customer's mind. So continually communicating to them, hey, when you have a support issue, and by support issue, this is what I mean, and lay that out very clearly. Go here, open a support ticket, or these other self-service things. Go to our knowledge base, right? Go look here. And then if you have something that falls under the customer success designation, then you come to us, and this is, so you have that very clearly laid out and you communicate that. So just because you have those different functions set up in your business doesn't mean you shouldn't continue to reiterate that to your customer.
Definitely. And we know also that one of the main challenges for a customer success manager is to be seen as a strategic advisor, business advisor in the mind of the customer. And unless we make sure that we have clarified the roles and that we are doing the work that are also back to positioning, are we positioned as a strategic advisor? It's harder for us to do that if we also have to take care of all these nitty-gritty, more technical, detailed work as well. So I think it's also playing back to that part that, which we know is it's one of the most common challenges for a CSM.
Oh, I mean, bad positioning for a CSM is definitely one of the most. It's probably the biggest issue, frankly, with customer success managers. Being positioned as something like a product specialist when you're really trying to be that strategic advisor. You say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, it's they see me as a product specialist. That's pretty cool.
Mm.
Yeah, except when you start trying to talk to them about their business goals, they're not going to see you as somebody that they should be talking about those things with. You're really hurting your ability to kind of help them achieve the results that they really need to achieve to really grow with you. So it can hurt. And one of the I just say this, we cover this in our CSM training all the time. The what you need to do there is, if you're going to talk about product specific stuff, if you're going to help them with some technical aspect of their use of the product, just make sure that you're tying it to their business goals. Right. Just make sure that you're always kind of bringing it back to like why we're doing this, because that will help keep you at that more strategic level. But I think one thing that we talked about before we sort of went on the air here, Johan, we were talking about, and you kind of brought up this idea of, well, isn't it just easier sometimes to just do the thing for the customer? Like,
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I think that's something that CSMs
No,
run
I
into
think
all the time.
I mean, it's in the nature of us working in customer success. We want to help the customer, and a lot of time, and we see this all over, is that you get quote unquote support things coming at you as a CSM, and you want to help the customer, and you just you solve that, and what happens? You get another request. Can you update this? Can you import this? Can you do that? And we just keep actually doing these things for our customer all the time, which means we're managed by our own inbox, which is not good. We know that, and we, in the mind of the customer, we are glorified support. We know them a little bit better, so we can do these fixes and things, updates for them faster and probably better than maybe regular support. So they keep sending us stuff. So it's I mean I think it's very easy to end up there, but then you miss on all the other things that you need to do basically.
Right. So this need, or this desire to help the customer, which again is a great thing.
Yeah.
But it ends up leading to this sort of these people pleasing behaviors where we, because we want to help, we just go ahead and help. Right.
Right.
That's great. Except now that's all we're doing. And we're really not truly helping, because we can't be strategic. We can't help them grow. We can't help them achieve their goals or figure out new goals or help them, stack goals on top of existing goals. We're just, fixing some integrations or importing some data or doing some configuration. And it's like, I get it. I get the need to help, but think about it big picture. Take a step back. Are you helping, or are you actually keeping things from working? When what would be better is send them to support, have support work that, and in the meantime, while that is being taken care of, you're now talking to them. You're taking the time that it would have taken you to do those things. Now you're actually able to get to know their goals, do some discovery, figure out, start working plans with them. Like,
right.
And you say, well, it only takes me 5 minutes to do this. Okay, how many customers are you currently working with? Those 5 minutes, which by the way, nothing ever takes 5 minutes.
No.
That 5 minutes becomes 15 minutes, and then you start doing that for 8 customers a day. We're starting to lose real time, and that's time that we're not helping our customers be actually successful. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to do here.
Exactly. And I think this is a really really important topic if you're a head of customer success or if you heading up both support and customer success. Sometimes it can be like, the famous iceberg where you have official support being the thing you see above the surface, but the actual support is what all the customer success managers are doing every day. So I think this is what's again, is that a problem? Well, if they spend a lot of their time doing support, they are not doing the proactive or the driving goals with the customer, looking for the next step, developing customers and expanding and doing all the things they could be doing. So I think this is you need to, and that's why back again to what we started with here, we need to separate these to clarify what are the tasks being done in support, what are the tasks being done in customer success, because that's the only way you will really clarify this as a company, as a unit as well.
Yeah, I think so. If we were to say, 3 specific action items, that's number 1. I think, right? Just split it, be really, really clear.
Exactly.
Make those distinctions. I would say, number 2 would be sort of capacity planning. I talk a lot about capacity planning, making sure that we are very clear on the resources we need to do the work that we need to do in customer success. And, if we're doing a lot of support tasks, then that's going to impact our capacity to work with our customers in customer success. So I do a lot of auditing of the time spent, not try to micromanage, but we need to look at what our customer success managers are doing. If you're a CSM, just kind of keep track of that. How much time are you spending doing support work versus actually helping your customers be successful? Sometimes that's just the sort of jolt you need to go, oh my gosh, I am really spending a lot of time doing this, when we have an actual support team that I could be deflecting to. So capacity planning, whether you're doing it for yourself as a CSM or whether you're a head of customer success and you're looking to figure out, are my CSMs sort of, for lack of a better term, wasting a lot of time doing this work, especially if there's somebody else that could be doing it. That's important. So capacity planning.
Yeah, fully agree there. And the last part here is back to the importance of being positioned as a customer success manager in the right way for the customer, and that's being a real business advisor to the customer. I think it's such an important thing, and you won't be viewed as that if you have your support hat on. So you need to have your customer success hat on when you do customer success work, and that's all about positioning. So that's the wrap up for this question. Thanks for this week, and see you soon.
Hey, thanks for listening. Do you want to bring your customer success to the next level? Check out Impact Academy. We have training programs for customer success managers and for leaders in customer success.